Hey everyone, it's Jamie from the GG Sports podcast of the Minnesota Vikings. It's just me today. I wanted to pop in and go through the PFF grades from the Vikings win against the Lions. Before we do that, though, I want to thank everybody for watching and to please hit the subscribe button plus the bell, get notifications for more of our videos. We would be very appreciative of that. Now let's jump right in. So starting off, we got Ben Ellison for a 93.1. I know he didn't play a ton with 13 total snaps. He did make the most of those, apparently. I know he had a nice catch and run earlier on in the game. That was a pretty big one. I think it might have even been on like third down or something like that. And it's just nice to see we don't really see him in the passing game that much, especially when we kind of need to catch a lot more passes from our tight ends of lately. And then so from there, I think probably the most impressive player from that game was Christian Darrisaw with an 89.4, which I believe might be the either the second most of all tackles or second most of left tackles, second highest grade from last week. He also had 88.4 pass blocking grade, 86.7 run blocking grade. So he was just all around consistently pretty good, and it's just nice to see that from our second year offensive tackle. He's starting to look more and more like the real deal, like we all were hoping for. So that brings us to Johnny Munt. So we're talking about tight ends. I think Johnny Munt might be one of the biggest surprises of the season so far. It's not like he's done anything too crazy, but every single week he's kind of been a good, reliable target for Kirk Cousins, and probably our most reliable tight end so far. So that's been a surprising, and I'm not surprised his grades at 81.4. KJ Osborne, 78.3. Obviously, the hero of the game. It's just nice to see him involved at all. We haven't seen much of him at all in the first couple of weeks, and not until the end of this game. It's nice to see that we're getting all the wide receivers in now. KJ Osborne and Adam Thielen. I still think that we need to get him more involved earlier in the game, and hopefully next week we do, just so we can try to get JJ open more, and he's not just pressed by three guys every single time. And then we got Garrett Bradbury, 77.8. So I've been paying attention to these grades probably each week so far, and Garrett Bradbury has put up a very solid PFF grade every time. I guess I don't know how whoever's watching this feels about PFF grades, but still, it's still impressive. I think it does look like he's kind of improving. We'll see if that holds strong. And then we got Adam Thielen, 77. Again, it was nice to see him more involved, especially a little bit earlier. I want them to get involved like right out of the gate. Like KJ Osborne, Adam Thielen, feed them both right out the gate. Throw the defense off big time because they think we're going through JJ, and then get JJ involved a little bit after that or something. I don't know. You have to do something with that. And I want to see him more, but it was nice to see Adam Thielen more, and he scored a touchdown, and it was pretty good. Kirk Cousins, 76.6. If you were to give him his first quarter, I bet you his PFF grade would be like 50, because he turned it up going in, especially in the second quarter and the fourth quarter, and is a big reason why we scored or went down and scored and won that game. So he ended up having a very solid game after starting off kind of shaky. So that's good. And we got Alexander Madison, 72.2. Delvin Cook got hurt. Alexander Madison came in and kept doing well in the rush game, scoring a nice touchdown himself. That combo with Delvin Cook and Alexander Madison, it was nice. Again, nice to get that run game going this time, and it was huge. I think it was probably the biggest reason why we won that game against the Lions. So it was nice to see. Ezra Cleveland, 72, solid score, nothing too crazy. Ezra Cleveland's been solid so far. Irv Smith Jr., 69.7. He had a couple nice catches, and we're using him more and more, and you can see why he's regarded as this talented tight end, but he has to fix these drops. He had the big one against the Eagles, and now he had another one. I think it was third and 8 or something like that. And I mean, he just needs to keep catching it. I know he has that potential, and I don't think he really had issues with that up until this year. So hopefully, that comes around and he can step up. I do know that we just picked up, I think, Hollister, tight end. I think that's the one that played for the Eagles or the Seahawks. I'm not sure. I didn't get a look into it. It actually just popped up as I was doing this video, but I think I'm not sure what the plan is with that. So that would have 4 tight ends. I'd have to look more into that. Now to Delvin Cook, 69.5. I think that's a grade that doesn't really tell the whole story because I think he looked fantastic. Maybe his grade went down a little bit because of that fumble that happened there, and then he just got hurt. But other than that, I mean, he was just going all day, and I thought he was really impressive early on, which was nice to see from him. And then CJ Ham, of course, the Robin to Devin Cook's Batman. He's just a solid player. Comes in, does what he's got to do. I know he had a very high passing grade as well, of 79.7. So CJ's just a good body to have there. I'm glad we have him on our team. No bias. Brian O'Neill. So it's actually kind of interesting to see him at 60. We got a couple players here, as you can see, that are kind of interesting that they're this low because we never see it here. Brian O'Neill, easily our most consistent offensive lineman. He's one of our most consistent players as a whole. 62.3, not the best game he's had, but he was up against what's his name? The Lions defensive end. I mean, Hutchinson's already come out as a rookie and he's been really good. But yeah, you don't really see it as low for Brian O'Neill. Jalen Reagor, I think he just got a couple plays. He had that bobble punt, 61.7. Nothing crazy. The big surprising one, Justin Jefferson, a 43.9. I mean, that's got to be one of his lowest of his career, which he was strapped on that whole game, but he had, 2-3 guys on him at all times, and it's kind of difficult to get a lot of separation like that. Because otherwise, I mean, I think the first week he had like a 90 something, and then even last week he had like a pretty decent score. But I think he's going to keep turning it up. And then Ed Ingram, 40.8, the lowest on here. He's a rookie. He's going to have growing pains. He's had his up and down so far, I'd say. All right, now to the defense. Danielle Hunter, 83.9. Obviously, it's Hunter. He's a very good player. He ended up having a 62.4 run defensive score, 44.3 tackle, 74.9 pass rush, which him and Zadarius Smith had 79.4 pass rush, but his coverage grade was 90.1, only 4 coverage snaps, but still, that's pretty good. But yeah, he is what he is, which is a beast. But the most surprising player and probably my favorite player from last game, well, on the defense, Josh Metellus, 82.7. Harrison Smith goes down. We all are calling for Lewis Cine, which makes perfect sense. He's a first-round pick. We traded back for him. We want to see Lewis Cine. But, man, what do you do when Josh Metellus comes in and has a game like he had, 82.7 with the interception, the game-sealing interception? The first one, he hit his hands, didn't catch it. Second interception. That was a very impressive game for him, especially we needed someone like him to step up in Harrison Smith's replacement, which is asking a lot. Zadarius Smith, 82.7. I mean, Zadarius Smith, just like Danielle Hunter, I mean, what he is, and it's a beast. Again, they both had good pressures. Neither had a sack. I don't think we had a single sack this game, but the pressure was brought, and those guys, we wanted to see them come into the season and step up and be those anchors for our team, and they are doing that. Even if our I think there's a scheme problem still, but whatever. Delvin Tomlinson, 76.7. It's nice to see him doing that because we need our defensive tackles to step up, especially in their run game. Their run game still was pretty good against mostly we didn't see much of Swift, but against Williams. Jordan Hicks, 74.3. I think Jordan Hicks actually could have been a little higher than this on this PFF grade just because he had 14 sacks. He had a couple big plays. I was pretty impressed by Jordan Hicks this game. So I think he'll just keep doing better and better. DJ Wonham, he's actually had a surprisingly good season. I know last year people were saying like, because he had like 8 sacks or something. I think they were saying against that Bears that some of his sacks weren't that impressive or whatever. But this year he has a couple sacks and there are some big ones. And yeah, I've been liking Wonham this year. Harrison Phillips 66.2. Harrison Phillips started really really blowing up the middle right at the end. You could see the energy from him, and I think him and his energy, as well as who was it? Was it Bullard who blew up the backfield? I think it was Bullard. We'll get to him, but you could just see their energy, and I think that's kind of was that momentum at the end of the game. Patrick Peterson didn't start off very good, I didn't think. Again, our scheme had him kind of playing off the wide receivers. They're just throwing the little short passes all over our cornerbacks. Patrick Peterson did start picking it up later on and has a couple really big coverage plays. Cameron Bynum, I think Cameron Bynum had 63, so that's 63.4. He had an all right game. I know there was one big, I think it was a penalty that hurt us quite a bit. So far, Cameron Bynum hasn't been extremely impressive. Obviously, he's still young, and we'll see what's up. But so far in just this game and the last game, he allowed that huge reception touchdown. Jonathan Bullard, like I said, I believe he was the one that blew up in the line and just tackled Williams right in the backfield. And I think it kind of seemed like a turning point, or at least like a stamp that like this game's turning around and we're going to stop you and we're going to get the ball and we're going to go down the field and we're going to win this game. Eric Kendricks, 55.8. I'm actually surprised because maybe he wasn't doing that. Let's see what his overall grades was. 77.5 in run defense, 63.3 in tackle, 68.3 in pass rush, 36.9 in coverage. So it was a coverage thing, even though he probably had the biggest coverage play in the entire game when he was able to pick up, I forgot who he was covering, but it was like third down or something, and he was able to stop him. And that was huge for us in this game. And it was probably one of the most important plays. So I disagree with that. I think his passing grade should have been a little bit higher, but who knows? Maybe he was getting beat the other times. Patrick Jones second, 50.8. Nothing too crazy. Chandon Sullivan, he's kind of getting beat quite a bit. I'm excited to see Andrew Booth come back. I know Andrew Booth isn't really known as a slot guy, but we just need more bodies out there as far as cornerbacks go. And, especially that's one thing I haven't really seen a lot of big plays as much other than at the end of the game. And I'd like to see more of that. Ross Blacklock, 47.6, nothing too crazy. Cameron Dantzler, 46.4, not good. Obviously, I think he had the main assignment against Amon St. Brown, who is a beast. And man, that guy was a steal last year. And he's not an easy assignment. But after, a couple really solid games out of Cameron Dantzler, kind of came down a little bit. And then James Lynch, 41.5. I doubt he played too much. Yeah, just nine snaps, nothing crazy, but yeah. So those are the PFF grades from the Vikings beating the Lions. Now let's go beat the Saints. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button again. Leave comments if you have any opinions that you want to put out there. We want to answer them. We want to talk to you guys. Yeah, skol Vikes.